Don't do it.
Well, thanks. She knows something I don't know. Worry about stuff. I'm sorry?
Pete, obviously it's only week 4, but historically the percentages of a team making the playoffs at 1-3 versus 2-2, it's significant difference there. Do you view this this early as a bit of a must?
Both sides of the statistics, No, we gotta get going. That's all there is to it. We gotta get going.
After a week of watching your team compete, Pete, do you expect the same starting offensive line this week you had last week?
That's a good way to ask it. You could have just asked if JPJ is playing. He's playing in this game, and our guys they're both playing.
What did you get? Maybe a sense of the mood of the team. Are they just fired up, ready to get back onto the field after last week?
It's so much different this week from last week because of the style of practice we had to do because of the late game and all that kind of stuff on Monday. And this was a regular back to the format schedule this week, and it was so much better. It was so much better. And we have a whole style of how we do it and expectations and standards and all that. We got to get right back to it, and so I'm really pleased with the week.
It's safe to say Michael Mayer is going to be playing on Sunday.
He's got another test tomorrow too, I think, before we know.
Good question. Another question I was wondering, like for you, like as coming into a new team and you've done this before in previous times, what do you embrace or what do you like about coming to a new team, like instilling your culture and like your philosophy? What do you like about that?
Well, I mean, this is kind of what I do, so I really embrace all of it. I like every aspect of it. I like the teaching part of it. I like the challenge part of it. Of course, it's all about sharing a whole way of looking at things. Not always compete and how we do all of that. It's the theme of the program, and so there's a whole process to it. And we went through the early aspects of it, but it doesn't mean much early on. They hear the words and they hear the thoughts, until we actually get out here and practice and work and have games to deal with and the issues that come up with games, wins and losses. So I like every aspect of it. To me, every bit of it is a challenge to compete and figure out how you can do something a little bit better. Be curious to all of the things that are doing well and that aren't doing well, and try to put that all in perspective and make really good choices to get better and move forward. Also, since we're just kind of rattling on here, I also like through the process you get a chance to meet these guys, see them for the first time, start the process, and then see how they respond to the way that we do things, and then see how they respond to the games as we play, and then see how they respond to the games that go well and don't go well. Big wins can be just as challenging as big losses in the next week, and so we're trying to understand how to master that mentality, and this week of practice tells me that we bounced right back in action, and so every bit of it is fun for me. So I like it.
Last night, I'm not sure how much you watched the game, or you're preparing for your own game, but there was a major special teams play at the end of the game on the kickoff that kind of helped swing the outcome of the game. They were short of the landing zone. Is that like another way to drive into your players how important every single special teams play is? And I guess how do you feel about how that goes?
Yeah, I mean, it could have been that play, it could have been a PI, it could have been whatever, and it could have been a situation. Yeah, it's always the very next step you take, and that's the next play that you're faced with. It isn't about what just happened or whatever, and in hopes that you're focused so that you can execute like you're counting and like your teammates are counting. And so, the fact that they missed the landing zone on that kick, he probably kicked thousands of balls that weren't there, and so that one got away, whatever. Yeah, but every play is crucially important, and you don't know which one's going to spell the aspect of the result of the game, so you got to play them all right to the max.
I don't know whether it's coincidental or not, but with the new rules for the kickoff, you look at last week, there were blocked kicks on field goals, there were returns, there were just a lot of big plays made on special teams. Do you think that because of what's going on with the kickoff, maybe there's a new light being shed or a new emphasis being shed just on special teams when you see that?
I wouldn't think that. I wouldn't think that it affects everything because of the kickoff thing. It certainly affects the kickoff. It does affect how we're thinking and all that, but it doesn't affect how we punt the football and hit field goals and stuff like that. I would think. But it is the first couple weeks, just like when you're a new team, you show what you are doing, show who you are and what you're trying to get done, and the other teams have to take advantage of that. They didn't know. Like when you're a new team like us, they have to figure us out because they don't have last year. We can look at last year's film. We can look at Ben when he's coaching Detroit. We have all kinds of different ways to go, and I think that you see a big transition maybe in the kicking game because it's 3 weeks old and everybody got a chance to see everybody.
mentioned Michael Mayer's still waiting on that. Can you just talk about Ian Thomas and what you believe he provides in the case that Michael Mayer can't play?
Yeah, and first, let's just say about Mike. Mike's had an incredibly good start with us. He's done everything we asked of him. He's been a marvelous teammate and all that. If he can't go on this weekend, he'll be back next week and ready to go. Ian has been right there every step of the way. It was a really fortunate get for us. He's got experience and background, versatility, all of that, and they really share those roles for us. So Ian will jump right in if Mike can't go, and will do a totally good job in his with his opportunity. So I'm not worried about that. I just want to make sure that Mike's right, and we can take care of him.
What have you learned about your team and how they responded to last week, Pete?
Well, I don't know. I know. I just told you about what practice was like. Okay, they totally came back and worked exactly the way we needed to. This is the championship week of preparation, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. They did exactly what we needed them to do, and they did it with energy and juice and toughness and all of that. So let's see. We had Saturday review coming up, and then we get to 1 o'clock. Let's see how we go. You kind of don't ever really know. You'd like to think you do, but you got to go out there and do the job. I'm sure they're pumped up about their win last week. It was a terrific win for them, and they get to try to make that turn. Like I said, big wins are just difficult to come back from big losses. So see what happens with them. See what happens with us.
That's good. All right. Thanks.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Pete.
Pete.